welcome back. Hey, Bruno. How are you today?
Hey, Casey, how are you?
I'm
Not too bad, not too
exhausted.
bad. It's a strange time. Yeah, no, I'm older than you. You can't say that really. So it's 9:30 for me. It's like 7:30 for you, something like that. So
Yeah, I don't know. I
it's
don't know.
nice to be young.
No, not at
You
all.
don't
I
know
wake
about
up
that?
early though, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You do the cold plunge and everything at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I'm a
So
madman.
you're good. You're solid. Yeah,
Yeah.
you are. Just before we continue, for anyone looking at this podcast that is not playing the game, and I know you're out there, we see the views every week. You can certainly go to our Facebook page, Emperor, and write a comment, and we can add you to our community, or you can certainly write a message under this podcast into the YouTube channel, and we'll try to respond to you. Feel free to do so. It's an amazing game, and we welcome everybody.
Definitely, that's a good
So,
idea.
yeah, so that being said, we usually look at the video. I apologize on behalf of Diego. He's been really swamped with work. So the video will be coming out a bit later this week. And I've decided let's not talk about the news yet. Let's introduce our panel, and then we can talk about what's going on this week with them. I think that would be better. So this week podcast is called Players, Brothers, and what's the last one, Casey?
Conquerors.
Conquerors. There we go.
Hmm.
And we've decided to do something special and invite two pairs of brothers that are actually playing the game, which are the Lamont and the Snooks. Hopefully, I did that right. You know, the French guy don't always get it right the first time, so hopefully that's the way you say it. So let's bring Cody, Austin, Matt, and Josh into our little conversation here.
Here we go. We'll flip them over, and of course we got to give them the There we go. We're good.
That's so bad. So bad. It's awful. Well, welcome, guys, and welcome to our podcast, The Fallen Emperor. I'm really happy to have you here with us. A bunch of new things to discuss, and again, the idea is to make the game a bit more human and show some of the players and what they enjoy about the game, or find challenging about the game too. So that being said, we could start with a little round table about the news. So, is there any news this week, if you had a chance to look at it, that particularly maybe got you thinking or attracted your eye more than others? Cody, maybe start with you.
Uh, Nothing too big jumped out at me beyond the coffining. So I've seen the
Yeah.
coffining.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
coffining is happening.
Let's
So
not avoid that. Let's put that out on the table right away.
Yeah, and brag announcement, a disease never got that big. It's the first time in Emperor history, we're
Oh,
doing history right now, that a disease is actually merging with other disease and just becoming. It is now worldwide. No, America is not hit, so it's the first time in the old Emperor it would be worldwide, but now that we put America, but it's the first time it's that big. So yeah, it's a big news. What about you, Austin?
I love the commercials. I love how he keeps referencing the rats coming in and talking about the
Yeah,
hospitals and disease is obviously a big thing in the game. So
yeah, for sure. That's a good point. And for those who don't know, Austin is actually the one managing the Facebook page. So each time you see news there and all of that and the nice little comments, I don't say it enough, but Austin's awesome at it. So thank you very much, Austin, for that. So if you have any complaints about the Facebook page, it's his fault, not mine. Just wanted to put it out
yeah.
there. So now's the time to do it. What about you, Matt? Anything that got you going in the news?
Um, Not too much. I'll the way I've approached, because this is my first year. The way I've approached it is just kind of, you know, focus on what I'm doing and not really let anything else really sway what I'm doing. I'm just going to kind of learn as I go. And then, once I get into next year, then I'll start, trying to add everything else that's happening in my decision making.
I like it. What about you, Josh?
Just all the Destin assassinations. I'm just surprised I'm not one of them yet.
Yet.
Yeah, assassination. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's more coming for sure, and there's more failing assassination coming also. We have news that's going to come out this week later on, but it's part of the game, and we spoke about it, so I feel like we speak about it every week. There's always something that personally I found is that now most players are declared themselves king or queen by the end of this week. So we're starting to see some king and queens, and it's nice to associate the player with what nation they're playing and know where they are. So it's always something that's fine. There's a few left, and I understand why. Obviously, being the administrator, but I feel like in the weeks to come, we'll probably have everybody declared, which is pretty awesome. That being said, now that we spoke about our news, I was wondering, now we have Cody, that is your third year, Cody?
Second year, yeah.
Austin's third year, and then the two other brothers, it's their first year. So it's nice to have that different perspective of the game. So maybe, what do you find cool about the game, or what do you like, what interests you in the game, and what do you find a bit more challenging as new players or players that played for 2 years or 3 years at this point?
We all got talked to about being, yeah.
Go ahead, Cody.
We got talked to about being respectful, so we're all being super respectful.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
We're all
guys.
Canadians for our state's viewer. Yeah, but that's the Canadian way.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Cody.
What attracted me to the game was the historical aspect, looking at all these different countries, cultures across the world at a point in history that was very volatile, very interesting. But also the mechanics and looking at kind of the player worksheet and seeing and knowing how much work is going into that and how many algorithms are running in the background to make that happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. I won't tell you how many, but it's a lot. But I'm glad.
I always thought that would be a neat
recognized.
thing.
I'm really happy about it.
Sorry. At the end of the season, even if you showed what you see from your view as an admin, to like just show that depth of what you have to deal with. But I know you
we
probably
thought
don't want
about
to.
it, but all we need is a player to screenshot, right? And then we're kind of
True.
screwed.
True.
So we try to be respectful, because some players, and rightly so, plays for winning. So we're trying to be respectful for everybody too.
That's fair.
What about the other Lamont? What about you, Austin?
I like the competitiveness of the game. So obviously my brother plays and my wife plays too. So it's always fun to try to do better than them. It's a good way to get your competitive spirit out. The game itself, like your your player sheet is very interesting. I look at that probably 4 or 5 times a day. Not that it's changing every day, but just to kind of see what's going on, see if I see something different I should be doing. Yeah, it's very complex, and I enjoy that challenge.
So you brought the wife, and it's a side point I had put down on my sheet to speak about. So too bad we can't record a past clip and just put it back. So we spoke to your wife about you and her playing, and she said that she had no issues killing you, but if you were to kill her, she would say to you that you cannot kill the mother of your child. So how do you feel? Would you feel comfortable killing her or not? So just putting, the cards on the table, just seeing the answer to that. So would you have an issue killing your wife? I mean, in the game, obviously.
Let's be specific.
Thanks for clarifying.
That's okay. Yeah, you're pleading the fifth. I would do the same, Austin. I was just trying to see if you would or not. So, okay, silence is good. I guess we'll see, right? At one point, you'll have to face her, and we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, we'll cross that
That's
bridge when we
probably
get there.
Yeah, or we'll send the first time of Emperor, the king kill himself and just give everything up. What about you, Matt? First year. So what do you find interesting? What do you find challenging?
Well, I mean, I haven't really played anything quite like this, where it's this interactive. But I grew up playing like the older Civilization games.
Nice.
So I like that kind of aspect of starting small and building out. So yeah, when I heard about this, I didn't really know what to think. I thought it could be pretty cool, and so far it's been really interesting. It's a lot to take in, and each week I think I know what I'm going to be doing, and then I'm finding out that no, I can't quite do it that way, and kind of learning as I'm going. So I'm really just kind of taking this first year as, just kind of not, just going with my gut and running with it, and then like I said earlier, next year I'll start worrying about fine tuning.
Yeah, perfectly. And I'm looking at the end of the season because me and Matt went through a first an Emperor, and it's nice to do that with a first year. And we laughed because Diego called it, and I didn't believe it, and then Matt went forward with it. So it's actually a new things that will require us to sit down and create a brand new rule about. So good job, Matt, on that one. That's what I like about Emperor is players finding new ways to kind of challenge the game and finding rules and stuff like that. So that was really awesome. What about you, Josh? What do you find nice or challenging about the game?
Yeah, I love the complexity of the game. I'm a huge board game nerd, ranging from all sorts of different types of games. So when I was told about this one, it's something I hadn't really quite tried before. So I was excited to try it. The challenging thing is just because of how complex it is and something I'm not used to, I'm just each week learning something new. And yeah, that sheet is very detailed, and each time I'm looking at it, I'm seeing something new that I didn't notice before. So yeah, no, it's been exciting. And already looking forward to next year because there's a bunch of things I would do differently now that I know some of the different rules out there.
Yeah, for sure. And that's I'm sure it's the same for Cody and Austin. Every year they play, they get more knowledge and they change their way of playing the game a bit or adjust on the things they want to do. So I can see that totally. So another thing I always ask guests is how did you find out about the game and who interests you because it's usually somebody that talks to you about the game. So how did you find out about the game?
Well, I found out. So uh, I work in the same company as Krista, and I think she had. I think I'm assuming it was Janny that she first told about this, and then Janny told the rest of us that we all play board games together, and so we all decided to try it together.
10 or 12 players out of the 44. So she's amazing for that. And I know that Jenny, Jessica, Josh, Matt are usually playing board games together, if I get this right. And they like to win. So I guess they are all looking to kill each other at one point. So I found that pretty exciting to hear too.
Yeah, Rob and Mike as well. Throughout the years, we've all played together, and yeah, so we're quite comfortable throwing each other under the bus and whatever it takes to win.
That's good to know. All right. What about you, Josh? The same thing with Krista, I imagine?
Yeah, same thing through Janny and Krista let me know.
Well, that's cool to know. I didn't know Jenna was Jenny was part of that circle, so that's pretty cool to see. What about you, Cody and Austin?
Yeah, well, I guess Sarah just came home one day and mentioned that you were looking for more players for this game, and I had no idea what to expect. Honestly, I wasn't overly interested at the time. I was very busy. And then basically the second I got my first character sheet, I was hooked. I think I watched that YouTube video that it kind of explains your sheet and how to play the game. Probably watched that 5 times before I actually did my first turn.
Cool. And you, Cody, I guess by synergy, your brother spoke to you about it?
Yeah, well, he had his first year where he was very successful. I think you were, top 5? Is that right? In your first year? And so he said, I did. I was going to say, he thought he did so well, he wanted to bring me in and, watch him rock and roll.
Yeah, and then the second year he did poorly.
Yeah,
still better than
he tried Europe and didn't like it. Yeah, Europe is not a nice spot to start sometimes. So
yeah.
So I guess I need to ask a question. If you found out that your brother was the nation beside you, would that incite you to kill him really rapidly, or would you try to work with your brother to do an alliance and try to take over the world?
I think for me, and I don't know if my brother's on the same page, but I think for me, like we did talk ahead of time. Like I wanted to start away from him so that we could both just kind of learn our first year on our own in our own way. And then I think, likely for next year, we'll just pick completely blind. And if we end up beside each other, I mean, I'm sure we would both talk about, working together, knowing full well that one of us has to try and backstab the other before they backstab me. So how long that would last, it's hard to say.
Yeah, but hey, that's honest. I like the
Whoever
honesty.
lasts,
It's
we're
yeah,
competitive.
exactly. I love it. I love it. Well said. What about you, Cody and Austin?
We've talked about it, but it has not been a concern yet for either of us. That's my fault, though.
What happened in those conversations? Neutral. That's what we want to know.
Fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we'll leave it to your conversations and leave it up, but I'm always curious.
No, we've talked about like.
Real question, you didn't answer.
Sorry, Bruno, go ahead.
Go ahead, Austin.
No, okay, I was just going to say, like, we've talked about picking nations, and then if we ended up close to each other, we would ally early on, just so we kind of had like one side covered and try to help each other get further in the game. And then worry about each other down the road if it came to that. But we don't really like plan to be beside each other. If it happens organically, then it happens.
Yeah, that's something I appreciate with most players, though. There's a lot of opportunity to say, play this nation, I'll play this one just beside or close to. And I found out that people pick for certain reasons, but they rarely do I see that happening. So I'm always happy to see that and see that people are trying to do their own game and not plan on playing in sort of way to have a quick ally right off the bat. So thank you for that. That's really appreciated. Um, so it's gonna hurt a bit, Cody, and I do apologize for that. I know you're out of the game, but for the three remaining players, uh, and Matt, you kind of spoke about it. I'm just trying to survive and do my own thing for the first year. But for Josh and Austin, what would be your goal for this year's game?
I think my goal is to win.
For me, I just hope.
I don't think I'll win, but I think my realistic goal is just do better every year and gain more experience and become more efficient in kind of the style of game that I play. I think it's a pretty complex style. I'll say it. I'm a finance kind of guy, so I go that route, and it's there's a lot to it. So trying to figure out all the ins and outs and be as efficient as you can to go further in the game is a little challenging.
And let's say it, he is an economist and doing every year he's getting closer to a Francis, which is our big economist champion playing. He is you're really doing well, Austin, and I think he's going to be one that's going to push the economy also to keep that moving forward. So it's always nice to see that. So for Cody, since oh, Josh, I forgot about you. So what's your plan this year?
For me, it was just because it's my first year. I just want to learn the game, so I picked a spot in the corner, and I'm just trying to slowly just turtle myself in and just survive week by week, and just so then I feel like the longer I'm in the game, the more I'll get to learn, and so just try to survive and see where I finish.
So the Pope should be attacking the corners.
Aim out, aim wide.
Yeah.
Aim
There
wide.
you go. We needed to speak about the Pope. We always do with our thing. Casey, just a small comment from Cold Lemon saying whenever someone gets a close up, we can't hear anyone else. So
Oh.
I don't know. You're the technical guy, so I just wanted to point that out to you. But yes, the Pope. So for you, Matt and Josh, it's your first year. But before we go to the Pope, and we always speak about it, and Derek is always very excited to hear his name. Cody's, what would be one point, maybe one point of advice you would give new players? It's in your second year. Yeah, don't think in consideration this year. We've learned a lot different.
Like, don't
this
burn your
year,
city
but
to the ground. That goes without saying.
Yeah, that's
right.
Fight the rats.
Yeah, fight the rats as much as you can. But if you had one really word of advice for a new player, what would it be?
It would be to try to stay abreast of changing rules and not be afraid to ask questions of their DM, whether it be you or Diego. You guys are a wealth of knowledge, and the game I find can be pretty opaque sometimes, and that's one way to lift that opacity, lift that kind of veil of war, is to ask you guys questions.
Okay, that's a good one. That's
That's a really good point.
actually very, and it is for your first 3 years. Ask as many questions as you can as you go into the fort, and we always say that it's the fourth year where I start being really, really quiet, and Diego too. So at that point, the fourth year is always a bit harder. But again, you can ask question. The answer may be just different. So for the first 3 years, anyone starting, for sure, ask as many questions as you can. That being said, let's come back to the Pope here. For the new players, did you think it would have such an impact on the game? And for Cody and Austin, do you feel the Pope is different than when Paul plays? So to give a bit of a history, we had two players only playing the Pope in 27 years. We had Paul Roberts that won the game 3 times, that is taking a break this year or going on break. And each time he goes on break, Derek steps in and plays the Pope. So for the new players, do you think the Pope has that much of an impact on the game? And for the experienced players, do you see a difference in play between what Paul was doing and what Derek's doing right now?
All I can say is that as the king of a Catholic nation, I'm here to do whatever the Pope would ask of me, and I hope I can make him happy.
Appropriate answer. Appropriate answer.
Yeah, let's lick some ass. It's time to do it. You heard that, Derek? He wants to be nice. So we love it. All right. What about you, Josh?
I'm just hoping that high in the corner is just going to prevent me from having to deal with anything to do with them.
I like it. I like the answer. Cody and Austin, do you see a big difference between Paul and Derek's play?
My scope's a little narrower than Austin's. I only have the 2 years. Last year, I'd say the Pope seemed to move a lot faster. He was at war in the first week or the second week with his priests getting killed by horse explorers.
Yep.
And he got a couple of assassinations off pretty quick, I thought as well. So definitely a difference just in terms of speed, in terms of where they end up. I guess we'll see.
Okay. What about you, Austin?
Yeah, it's tough to say because even the first year I played was that's the year where I forget his name. The Pope right now.
Derek.
Derek?
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure he would blank there. Derek was more in a support role, so he did a lot more like cloak and shadows, probably building up his economy, became Pope. And then last year I played in Europe, so I had to experience Paul's full wrath. And he's a good player. So
yes, he is.
Experiencing that, and then I'll be excited to see kind of what Derek does this year with the kind of different role of the Pope being able to take over the world by himself.
So just for your reference, Cody, we've compared what Derek did so far and what Paul, and they're actually at the same rhythm. So it's funny that Paul had a way maybe to make people feel he was rushing through things. And I think it's because of his play style. Paul was a bit more war than Derek is. Derek is more of an economist, diplomat, and social. And Paul was more of a war economist. So that's a different play style. And for new players, it's normal to maybe not be fully aware what's going on when I say that. And even when Austin said, I'm an economist and what that means, you'll figure it out the more you play, that there's a style that intrigues you or you feel more comfortable doing. It doesn't mean you do any other things. But once you figure out which style, it goes a lot quicker because you know where to put your energy right off the bat. So, Casey, did you figure out where you're at? Or are you still trying to figure out what type of gameplay you're...
I know where I'm at. I don't want anybody else to know yet. It will be declared shortly, but I'm going to be aiming at those corners. That's all I'm going to say. Just don't know which one. Are we talking a little more northwest corner or where are we talking? Anyways, no. I think as an aside or something that we can add, it would be neat to have the popes or the Pope just for you guys to sit down and explain those mechanics and how it works, because until somebody declares war or crosses paths with the Pope, they're not really activated. They're still working in the background, but just a different kind of angle. And then all of a sudden they can kind of ramp up with an army and they can kind of, declare crusades or do all sorts of stuff that changes the game and changes the pace of the Pope, which would be interesting in my opinion.
Well, we can do a quick review. I don't know if the guys you mind. It takes about 2 minutes. So basically, what's different about them than you is when they get their character sheet, they don't get the city sheet or the empire sheet. They really get records and character. So they start as a bishop and they work their diplomacy skills to a certain level to be able to ascend to the next level. And the only way they can do that is by a cardinal or the pope dying, and then they could put their name forward. So usually they initiate that system with what you know as assassins. And if they fail, they basically lose the game and you have no pope. AI becomes the new pope.
Oh,
So they have to be really strategic on how they move every step up. For new players, and some players discovered that this year, the Pope cannot be king, cannot build an army, and cannot marry if no one declares war on him. So when they send priests out, really they're trying to get as much map as they can under the protection of Rome. But what they're trying to do is to push a player to kill a priest. When that happens, when somebody provokes him, he has the right to declare war like anybody else. And if he does, that opens those possibility to him. So what is different this year than last year is that Derek became king of the papal state before becoming pope, because that progression happened quicker.
Right.
Where Aleppo killed priests right off the bat, he then became king, could marry, build an army, and then became pope. So the piece of advice I have to any player in there, it's going to hate me for giving that piece of advice, but if you don't provoke the Pope, he cannot build an army and cannot be king. So as long as you don't provoke him and but you're letting the priest basically walk all over your land and your city, which gives him the information. If you're okay with that, good. If not, then that's how basically the Pope becomes part of the game.
And a horse explorer walking past a priest would potentially lead to that
Kill the
automatically.
priest, because the priest is considered the land explorer, right? They don't do attacks, they don't do, so the horse explorers will kill him.
Yep.
So basically you send your priest mid-east in Africa and you hope a player's there and kills him. That's what you're aiming for, because Catholics doing that, it's a bit different. It doesn't declare that war opportunity because the Pope decides if he goes to war or not. But if it's an hostile force that's not of the same religion, then he has that possibility.
Right.
But we can certainly do a podcast. We were speaking on doing maybe the spring and summer and do maybe once every 3 weeks or every month. And we could certainly go over all of that mechanic with the players, which I think would be cool.
Definitely.
So coming back to our guest, because it's all about the brothers, what would be one nation that you've played the first year or 2 and 3 years? What's one nation that you didn't play yet that you would be intrigued of playing maybe in years to come, and why?
Well, I mean, when I was picking my nation, I didn't realize, like, when there was talk about like picking a name for yourself that like fit the culture and the country, and I don't know, I just kind of thought that the country I picked would play a lot more into the actual gameplay, whereas I've come to realize it really all it matters is location, or at least that's what it's kind of felt like. And so I don't know, or at least that's what I've experienced so far. So the spot that I picked was a lot more traffic, a lot more people around. So I think for next year, I'll probably try and hide out a little bit more. We'll see.
Yeah, and perfectly good answer for a first year. As a first year to start in Europe, it's really, really hard because you don't have a lot of time to experience the rules, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's in your face really quickly, and most likely there's experienced players, and all they want to do is, oh, it's a new player, let's go and let's move over him and let's, gain some land. So
Yeah.
really, I understand where you're coming from, for sure. What about you, Josh?
I think I would want to do something that is a little more high traffic, since this year I'm taking it in, taking all the rules in, figuring it all out, and just playing it slow. Whereas I think next year I would like to get into the thick of it and get a little bit more stuff going on. So some are probably in Europe next time.
Oh, there you go. That's going to be interesting. I like it. What about you, Cody?
I'm kind of the same mind as Josh. I'm probably going to look at going into Europe next year. My first year, I kind of picked like Matt, where I thought Japan's really sexy. Big fan of Japan. Let's go to Japan. And it was great being on an island because you get to make a lot of mistakes. We talked earlier, Bruno and I, about how I made a really big mistake this year and that got me killed. But last year, I got to make a ton of mistakes just week after week on this island, and I got to last a little longer. So, as a first year, I would recommend an island. But in any case, yeah, I'm thinking probably Europe next year, maybe Scandinavia, that kind of area.
The Vikings.
The
Yeah,
Vikings, yeah.
pretty neat. Yeah. What about you, Austin?
So I'm actually playing one that I've wanted to play for 3 years now this year. So I'm pretty excited to be playing
Okay.
this nation.
Great.
We'll see how that plays out in the long run, but I'm looking forward to this year. And then in future, I think I'd like to try somewhere in the Americas and just see what life is like on that side.
Would any of you be interested in North America? Like it's coming live next year. Is that something that has any attraction to you, or are you more? I know Cody and Josh Europe wants to be tested out, and I wish you the best. It's really fun. It's really fun, no matter how long it lasts. But some players only play in Europe's, which Dan Lisa did. Kale is always in Europe. Francis always in Europe. Chad tries to be near Europe or in Europe. So it's a fun place. It's really quick, high paced, and for those who likes to be really challenged, that's the place to be. But I'm looking forward to see when we expand North America, because that's going to dilute a bit the number of players.
Yeah, it'll
It may be a
spread it
place
out.
also that's going to be a bit more, yeah, like North Asia, where it's a bit slower all the time,
Hmm.
and it gives you a nice opportunity to test things out. So for sure, um, we spoke about the rules, the nation, the location, and all of that, but um, what is one rule that maybe intimidated you, like until you figure it out? There's always one rule or one section that you look and you're like, I'm completely lost. And how did you kind of pass that? And is it by playing it, testing it, or is it by reading the manual or asking question? What is one thing that maybe challenged you rule wise?
I guess for me, it would be kind of how naval warfare worked and building boats in general. In my first 3 years, this is the first year I've potentially been building boats. Don't want to divulge that
Okay.
information too early, but that
Yeah.
reading the
That's
manual a
cool.
few times,
Boats.
yeah, seemed a little hard to wrap
Yeah.
my head
Okay.
around the first
Boats.
few times reading the manual.
Yeah, boats are very different than land units, and if you play inland and then you go to boats, or the opposite. We had people, I'm sure for you, Cody. Well, it's not too bad, but you played mainly with boats, and now you're going a bit more land mass. So it's a different type of play, also. Um, what about you, Cody? Is there a rule that you know made it hard for you?
Um, my first year especially, I struggled with so I think player death. I was worried the whole year, ironically, super worried the whole year about dying of natural causes as a player,
Oh, interesting.
and that like I held off on investing in my player skills because I was like, well, I'm just gonna die. Bruno told me I'm gonna die.
Oh,
I'm just gonna die, so I may as well have kids and then not invest in my player skills. It
Yeah.
wasn't until I became a vassal of Francis that he was like, Bruno, tell that Cody guy he needs to start investing in economic skills because he's messing up my economy right now. But I finally started doing it, and then I died of natural causes to end my.
No. That's the best.
Yeah. That's simple for you. So yes. So natural death. So we've already defined that 3 players, if they keep going, they are now too old, even if they had kids, to actually be able to win the game through succession. So their only way of winning is if they do it in their lifetime, which last year we saw the 2 players died and their kids took over, and it was a fight between the kids. So it's always something that you need to consider. What about you, new players, Josh and Matt? Is there a rule you're still struggling with at this point?
Most of them. No,
for me,
it's just the difference between reading it on paper and kind of trying to picture it in your mind on how things work, and then when we get into the game session and I try to go that route, realizing kind of figure out what the parameters are. So just a lot of trial and error, and I wouldn't say that there's one specific thing. It's all I think going into my session this week, it's going to be realizing a little on the with water and ships, what works and what doesn't. So each week there's something new that I'm figuring out.
For sure. What about you, Josh?
It's kind of the same thing. Kind of just everything is there's a lot to get into, but I would say the main one for me that I'm struggling last week and then last couple of weeks is trying to make myself king, doing the whole kingship thing, not fully understanding what I need to do in order to get into a spot where I can do that. So, but I think I have it figured out for this week. So we'll see.
There we go.
Maybe some news to come.
That's nice to hear. Perfect. So you're all playing, and so I'll go back to Cody on this one. Who do you think will win, or where do you think the winner will be from? Like, if we take Europe, North Asia, South Asia, or America, where do you think the winner will be from?
My suspicion would be Scandinavia or Europe or Southeast Asia.
Really?
That kind of area. Southeast Asia can be very busy. Last year, it was super busy in Southeast Asia, and that's where Francis came from to try to kind of win. Or then Europe, obviously, there's so much action there, so much territory to take over, so a lot of possibility for fast expansion.
So if you had to put your money on one, which one would it be?
Europe.
Europe, eh? Yeah. Okay, I can see that. Interesting. Perfect. Thanks, Cody. So, Casey, did you have any questions?
Nothing on my end. I mean, for me, it's I just love the depth of the game. It feels almost like you're spinning a whole bunch of different plates all at the same time, and then you just never really know which one to kind of lean into. But I don't have any questions for these guys. This is great. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. So the community itself, we never speak enough about that. So were you surprised at all of the community you were joining and the type of 158 message in one day in the chat and and having the videos and the podcast and people, giving comments left, right, and center. So were you expecting that, or you were expecting more of a board game where it's more one-on-one, you don't have that much of a social interaction?
I don't know. For me, I kind of came in blind. I didn't really know what to expect at all. So I guess I didn't really have anything to compare it to. So I just kind of, I definitely didn't expect it. I didn't realize that it had been going on for like over 20 plus years, and just how in depth and how built out everything was. So that definitely was surprising in a good way.
All right. Anyone else?
I was definitely expecting more of a board game feel my first year.
Okay.
Didn't really know what kind of to expect, and then I was pleasantly surprised by seeing the character sheet and the map and the interaction. The evolution of the Emperor news videos is incredible. Diego does a great job with that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think this year is one of the pillar. I think that's what people want to see and they like to see it. And again, it's being seen by people. We can define that it's being seen by 100 people that we don't even know. And I'm always curious. So if you're listening to this, again, tell us, and we want to know who you are and why you're watching them. So we're very curious to know where you're from. So that being said, I won't take more of your time. Thank you to have came to the Fallen Emperor podcast. It was
Yeah,
really
thank
nice
you.
to see you, and I mean, hopefully we see all of you next year. Because except if you win the game, we never know. It might be one of the three left that wins it all. But if not, I hope that you'll be back with us next year and you enjoy the experience.
Thanks for having me on.
All
Yeah.
right. Take care,
Thank you
Matt.
very much.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bruno.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right.